Hello, it's Nikki and welcome back. So maybe you began this year with big plans for your business, your personal brand. You wanted to be in places and spaces and doing all of the things. And this was your year that you're going to become more visible. If that is you, do listen along because I've got 3 really great things to share from my experience on the radio last week. So last week I was interviewed on the radio. It was an hour-long show. It was quite an in-depth interview, asking about my own career, but also sharing lots of tips about new year planning, strategy, things that I'm doing with clients. I also got to select a bit of a playlist, which was quite exciting as well. And anytime basically I go on the radio, it just takes me back to being a child and setting these things up in my bedroom. So to do it for real, and I know I'm 42 now, so I'm not just playing in my bedroom, but it always feels a really lovely treat. So 3 things I want to share with you, especially if you want to maybe be on the radio, maybe looking at television opportunities or being in the press or on podcasts or interviewed, basically really elevating your personal brand. So not only do more people know about you, but the right people do, and those people may want to go on and hire you. So the first thing that I want to say is you are going to have to learn how to edit. There is no time and also interest in you waffling on. And this sounds quite harsh to say, as in nobody's really bothered about the long story. But honestly, if you can focus on the short, snappy, succinct, precise, interesting version of that story, it's going to serve you so well. And this will really be a discipline for yourself and things that you can start doing now before you maybe get these opportunities or go through this next level of pitching and putting yourself out there. You have to be really clear about who you are, who you serve, what your messaging is, what you're there to do, how you can be most useful. And even though this was an hour-long conversation, this was not an invitation for me to waffle on and tell you some long, convoluted story about my medical history or my life story. It's just not that useful or interesting to anybody else. And so you being your best editor is such a great use of your time. Also, you are the common denominator in all of this. And so I think that your story is probably, once you've nailed it, your story in the past is not going to change that much unless you start embellishing it or changing it or, cutting things out. But essentially what has happened to this point will remain the same. And so if you want to book a strategy session and really get into that detail of yes, actually, I'm not very clear about what I'm saying, or I think I would be quite nervous if people started asking me things. I don't know what I would say. You can send me a message via my website. We can book it in and we can get things moving and shaking. The second thing that I want you to be aware of is who the audience is. Where are they up to? What's going on? And I want you to look at this from almost like a 360 point of view. So I was invited in terms of being essentially a founder, a freelancer, a creative, and the radio station attracts those kinds of people. Now, there may be some people who are sitting down to listen to what I have to say with a pen and paper and are using it as an exercise, but most people won't. That is my suspicion here. Most people are listening on the lunch break. Maybe they're in their car. Maybe they're doing something else. And it's very casual. It's a very passive listen. It's kind of background noise, which sounds a bit harsh to say about myself, but essentially that's what it is. It's a different energy from somebody coming and doing a paid one-on-one session with me or a paid workshop. And so knowing what was going on for those people made me approach the situation with that in mind. And I think sometimes this is about tone. This is about tempering your message so it's going to work for those people in that circumstance. And again, a background question you can have alongside that is, how can I be really useful in this circumstance? The third thing I want to say is, what are you going to give people at the end of it? And this is really important, and we really delve into this in my Speak Up course, actually. So if you want to find out more about that, go to nickyraby.com/speak up. I have been somebody who has gone to conferences and talks and YouTube and so many things over the years where I've wanted to learn. And I've really found the most impactful speakers have not only shared about themselves, but they've given me something to move on and to take with me and to continue the process and the conversation. So a couple of talks that I've been to in the past, mentioning no names, have been really uninspiring, meaning I've maybe asked a question and they've said something very lukewarm of, you just have to, at the end of the day, increase your network, or just think positively, or just keep doing something every day. And my inquisitive mind, and I guess I want to do the best and I want to maximize this for myself, is I'm always thinking, but tell me how, give me examples, give me things to play with, give me your bag of tricks to borrow. And that's not to say that somebody has to give everything on a plate for free, but for you as the expert in that hot seat, if you can give people something they can continue on with, something to process, something to take with them for the rest of their day, it's going to not only make you memorable, of course, but it's going to have an impact and a positive impact. And I think we have to remember this, especially in this digital age where information, facts, resources, they're so freely available. And the temptation for many of us is to just keep consuming that information. And actually what we want to do is to be able to get to that stage where we can do something with it. Because otherwise it's just adding into our brain and we're not able to implement. And I always say this in my speaking talks, and I love this kind of Q&A back and forth at the end of it when I get the opportunity with a live audience, is I will hold that space for accountability. So what are you going to do with this? What's your takeaway? What are you going to stop doing? I really try and ask those big expansive questions. So people have to take action. And I don't believe there is any point in just motivating people. Motivating, it's lukewarm, it kind of hangs around for a bit and then trails off. If you give people things to work with, they can then implement. And that's when you grow. That's when you create change. That's when you see results and progress in your business and in your life as well. So if you are interested in any of the things that I have shared there, you can go to my Work With Me page if you want to work with me personally, or you can go to my shop, which homes all of the digital versions of what I've described there. But yes, let's get you some great opportunities. I've worked with so many different people over the years, from different industries, from healers to pop stars to yoga teachers to chefs to photographers to investment bankers to tech creators, so many different people. And it's always bespoke, my work, so I can really help you dive into your message. This is not about taking the edges of you off. This is about really highlighting them and elevating them so you can be you and your best version of you, and share that with the people who want it. Check out the links down below, and I'll see you next time. Any questions, just use the messenger button on my website. Would love to hear from you, and get cracking. Lots of love. Bye.